From DOT? DOT? No? Okay. I got some questions for DOT whenever they show up. Okay, what is your pleasure, board? You've heard the recommendation.
I'll move that the consideration of DOT to add this to the secondary road system be approved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Second by council. Any questions? Comments? Discussion? All in favor?
Unanimous.
Item
Item
number 8 is consideration of Workforce Development Board recommendation to award the fiscal year 2017 services contract to Risk Care Workforce Services. And I'd ask our Assistant County Manager, Tracy Jackson, to present this item, please.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Cumberland County receives funding from the state to provide workforce development services through the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, also known as WIOA. A request for proposals was solicited recently to cover 4 different program areas. These are for adults, dislocated workers, in-school youth, ages 14 to 21, and out-of-school youth, ages 16 to 24. The approximate annual funds for each of the programs are $900,000 for adult, $800,000 for dislocated worker, $750,000 for out-of-school youth, and $250,000 for in-school youth. Each proposal was scored and evaluated in areas such as customer flow, staffing, statement of work, program design, organizational experience, past performance, references, transition and staff training plan, program cost budget proposal, and program metrics. An initial recommendation was made to the Workforce Development Board on September 7, 2016, but it was decided to table a decision until all bidders had an opportunity to make an oral presentation supplementing their proposal. The evaluation team heard the presentation from all bidders on October 24, 2016, and the recommendation of the 4 contracts for awarding the 4 contracts was made to the Workforce Development Board on November 2nd. After much deliberation and analysis by the RFP Review Committee, Risk Care Workforce Services was selected as the successful proposer to provide services in all 4 program areas. The Workforce Development Board and staff recommend approval of Risk Care Workforce Services as a successful proposer to provide all 4 program areas and authorization for the county manager to execute the negotiated contracts. Be glad to entertain any questions you have. And we also have joining us David McCune, who's our chairman of the Workforce Development Board, and Jim Lott, who's our Workforce Development Director.
Welcome. Any questions at this time? If not, is there a motion to enter into or execute the negotiated contract?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Unanimous.
Thank you.
Item number 9, Mr. Chairman, is consideration of adoption of the 2017 Board of Commissioners regular meeting dates. There is a schedule in your packet, but I do want to mention there are 4 times during the upcoming year that county holidays are on the dates of your regular meetings, and that would be the New Year's holiday, the Martin Luther King Jr. Holiday, Easter, as well as the Labor Day holiday. In those instances, the meeting will be the following day, right after the holiday.
Okay, board, what is your pleasure?
I move that we adopt the 2017 regular meeting dates as proposed.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Unanimous.
Item number 10 is nominations to boards and committees.
Okay, the first item is the Cumberland County Workforce Development Board, 1 vacancy. Do I hear a nomination?
I'd like to
Go ahead.
nominate Dr. David Brand.
David Brand. Okay, next item, Joint Appearance Commission. We have 2 vacancies. Y'all bear with us. We have to flip to this thing.
I can't find the page.
Seems like it takes it longer to come up than it used to.
I'd like to nominate Dennis Walker and Mary Beth McKenzie.
Okay. Okay, the next one is the Senior Citizens Advisory Committee. We have one vacancy. Okay, I'll go ahead and do that one. Somebody else be turning to the next one.
Okay, thank you.
Let's see. They don't have a recommendation. Good for me.
That
I'll
we
jump right in
take
on
it
that
to the next meeting.
So we'll take that one to the next meeting until we can get a recommendation. Okay, Tourism Development Authority, one vacancy. Who's got that one?
I broke my computer.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman, I'll nominate Pavan Patel.
Haven Patel. Okay. Okay, we'll move ahead to the Transportation Advisory Board. I think my computer's broke too.
I move that we reappoint Ms. Ann Morrison, Mr. Kenneth Washington, Mr. Joel Strickland, and that we nominate Ms. Dawn McNair.
Yeah, okay, are there further nominations for any of these? Okay, if not, we'll close the nominations, but we'll move item C forward to the next meeting, Madam Clerk. Okay, next item is the appointment of the Tourism Development Authority Chairman, and,
I'll take that one.
okay, Larry.
Recommendation is for Vivek Tandem as chairman of the 2017 calendar year.
Okay, is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded to appoint Vivek Tandon as chairman. Any discussion? All in favor?
Unanimous.
Okay, all right, next item is the appointments to boards and committees. I'll go ahead and take that. It's, let's see, for item A through C, we have an equal number of recommendations or appointments for slots. So I'll go ahead and move that we appoint to the Cumberland County Library Board of Trustees, Dr. Daniel Matoya and Betsy Small. For the Cumberland County Local Emergency Planning Committee, we have 10 vacancies that are categorized, and we have Kevin Arata, Sean Swain, Robert Melvin, Tony Collado, Lieutenant Freddie Johnson Jr., Brett Chandler, Tim Mitchell, Calvin Bishop, Henry Eisenbarth, and Rhonda Folks.
Second.
And, well, I got one more. And for the
Oh.
Human Relations
Sorry.
Commission, I have 2 vacancies, Dr. Mohammed Lodi and Georgiana Pinckney. Now you can second.
I still second.
Okay. Moved and seconded that we appoint the nominees as mentioned. Any discussion? All in favor?
Unanimous.
Okay, item D, we have 7 nominees for 6 slots for the Nursing Home Advisory Board. So we'll go ahead and vote on these in the order listed. And Madam Clerk, will you please keep a tally? Okay, all in favor of Keith Howard for reappointment?
Could you please keep your hands raised? Thank you.
Okay, all in favor of Laura Hardy?
Thank you.
All in favor of Phyllis Pierce?
Thank you.
Okay, all in favor of Robert Williams?
Thank you.
All in favor of Brenda MacArthur Strong?
Thank you.
Okay, all in favor of Diane Wheatley?
Thank you.
Okay, all in favor of Rudy Tatum?
Thank you.
Okay.
So all are appointed with the exception of Ms. MacArthur Strong, Brenda MacArthur Strong.
Okay, so do we need a motion on that, or is? I don't guess we need a motion,
What?
that's, we're done, right?
It's been voted.
Okay. All right, so the vote is for Howard, Hardy, Pierce, Williams, Wheatley, and Tatum, is that correct?
That is correct.
That's
yes,
six,
sir.
okay. Next item.
Yes, sir. Item number 13 was previously listed as closed session. The board voted to allow the county attorney to discuss this in open session. Mr. Moorfield.
Mr. Chairman, I'm gonna go to the podium if that'd be all right. I think you'll see me better. Anyway, I need to stand up with my knee having to get out. I know that I gave you a little update in response to a email from Commissioner Adams last week about this matter, and I know there has been some, actually some national news coverage on it. What it is, though, is the North Carolina chapter of the NAACP sued Beaufort County, Cumberland County, Moore County, and the State Board of Elections in a federal lawsuit last week that was filed about midday Monday. The basis of that suit is a conflict between a state statute and a federal statute, and I just want to give you a little bit of the background of that so you can understand it. In North Carolina, there is a process by which an individual registered voter can challenge any other registered voter for a list of 9 specific reasons. And one of those reasons is not living in the precinct in which your registration reflects that you're living. And that actually has a couple other statutes attached to it. It makes it the easiest one to do, and the state statute actually says that if you produce a letter that you've mailed by first-class mail to that registrant at the registration address, and it is returned undeliverable because the person doesn't live there, then you've made your case, and then it shifts the burden of proof to the registrant to come forward after being notified by the Board of Elections to straighten the matter out. That's the question, the statutory process that has created all this. It came out in a hearing that was held in Winston-Salem Wednesday in a temporary restraining order hearing on this, that 20 other states have a similar statute. So that's the basis of the state statute. The conflict is with the National Voter Registration Act of 1993, which was the big pushback at that time for the motor voter registration, a lot of getting people on registration rolls. There was also some stuff with that act that applied to states that said they couldn't, that prohibited states from doing. And that's the really crucial issue in this. That statute, that federal statute starts out with the language, each state shall. It's never been applied at the local level or at the county level. And the county boards of elections have to rely on the guidance given by the state board of elections on these matters, and that's what's been done in Cumberland and the other counties. In any event, what happened in Cumberland County is an individual named Michael Hires actually started doing this back in 2014. He has filed about in excess of 6,000 of these challenges since 2014, with about, I'm just giving you round numbers now, 4,000 of them having been done this year, since February or March of this year. The Board of Elections didn't like this process, didn't like this, the way this was being done, although it was perfectly in compliance with the state statute. And the discussion had been to take this issue up maybe through the state board, hopefully, or with our local delegation, to try to get the legislature to address this statute, because no one thinks that this statute contemplated this type of use of it, but it was okay under state statute. In any event, the Board of Elections heard probably 4,000 of these since March. And when I say they didn't want to do that, some of these were done in 7-hour hearings on Saturdays, because you got to remember the Board of Elections. I mean, these are people who are appointed to fill this role. I think they get a nominal fee for the meetings, but I don't think that fee ever contemplated the number of hours that these meetings have taken. I know for me personally, I have spent more hours on these matters this year and doing the orders and stuff, keeping all that stuff straight, than any other thing I've done. I mean, it's been a very burdensome and time-consuming process. And the local board of elections applied this statute as stringently as possible, and there were hundreds of people for which probable cause was not found, and these challenges did not go forward. But there were still in the range of 33 to 3,400, I think, that the challenges were upheld, were sustained because the voters didn't show up and defend themselves or their registrants. The man who did this got all of his information. We don't really know what his motivation was, but he got his information off the State Board of Elections website. And everybody, it's listings. These are listings of inactive voters. We think he sort of went through them precinct by precinct. But these were all people, all registrants who were on this list because they had not responded to some notice from the Board of Elections that was sent to them at the registration address, or the notice had been returned to the Board of Elections as undeliverable because the person didn't live at the address. So that's how he picked the people that he did. Although the complaint that the NAACP has filed against the counties does not specifically mention that Cumberland County did this for a racially motivated reason. I mean, it does with respect to some of the other counties. It does generally say that the allegation is that the Board of Elections, the County Board of Elections, acted in concert with these individuals to target African American voters and remove them from the rolls. I assure you there was absolutely no basis for that allegation. Again, we don't know how he picked who he picked, or I mean, what his motivation was. But in Cumberland County, because of the numbers of these things, these were done from Excel spreadsheets that were prepared by election staff. The only information they had about these registrants was the name of the registrant and an Excel spreadsheet number, not even the voter ID number. So that was the process that they had to use because of the numbers that were involved here in Cumberland County. I suspect that the numbers are so large in Cumberland County because it appeared early on that a lot of these were people who had at least at one when they registered been active duty soldiers who were either deployed or maybe really not here anymore. I talked to Ms. Robertson this morning. Only a handful of these people voted in the early voting time period. And as far as how all this has been resolved at this point, the State Board of Elections sometime over the weekend re-registered all these folks, so they will now be able to vote just as if they had, if their registration had never been canceled by the local boards of elections. So there will be no impact on any of these folks to vote on Tuesday. In terms of the handful that Ms. Robertson says did vote earlier by absentee ballot or otherwise, all those folks were able to vote. And it's one thing that's really important for everybody to understand is even though this challenge process is there and that's where all this stuff was done, none of these folks under another state statute would have been denied the right to vote. The action by canceling their registration did not deprive anyone of the right to vote. Those who had already voted before this hearing, for this temporary restraining order hearing, did vote. Those who wanted to. Anyone who updated at early voting, all they had to do was update their registration. You would answer the same questions that everyone who votes. When you go to vote, you're asked if you still live at the same address and that stuff, and it's updated on the spot. So there's been again a whole lot of effort put into this, and for reasons that I don't really understand, this individual, he had to pay first-class postage for every one of these. So he has spent maybe a couple $1,000s on this stuff. The county has had to send each one of these persons 2 notices because of this action at the bulk mailing rate, I think, which is about 44 cents per item. So it has been, in terms of numbers, a few $1,000s of actual cash, but the amount of staff time and overtime and stuff that's created by it, believe me, this was not something the Board of Elections wanted to do. They did it because they were compelled to by the state statute. And the position of the Board of Elections is, they will follow the law by ever how they're directed to do. If this federal judge's ruling becomes the law as applied to counties, then that's fine. We are not in a position to defend the state statute and are not going to. Neither of the counties that have actually been sued are doing that. We're not sure how the state is going to react to this. The Assistant Attorney General that handled this matter for the state at the hearing in Winston-Salem on Wednesday reported that as far as the state was concerned, this was a county issue. They did not want to get involved in it, and they were not going to defend the statute. So we're hoping to get this resolved as quickly as possible, and again, the Board of Elections will just follow the law as whatever it is. In this case, will, I guess, maybe end up being a different application of that statute, but that's where it's at. There have been hundreds of pages of documents filed in this lawsuit. The plaintiffs have 9 lawyers representing them from all over the country. So it's going to take pretty much all of my time for the next few weeks. And I want y'all to know that, because it's a very overwhelming, in terms of even though we have a pretty clear-cut way of, what result we want to get, it's just going to be just overwhelming because of the way this has been handled. I'll be glad to answer any questions if you have any.
Questions? Chief Keith?
Mr. Moorfield, it's times like this, I know why I did not choose the law as a profession. Did we do anything illegal?
The county's not even a party. The Board of Elections did not do anything illegal. The Board of Elections followed the state statute. That's the federal law controls this, and this only applies to federal elections. I mean, even all this relief is just as to the federal elections, not the state elections. However, obviously we'd apply this to all elections. But if this will be the first time that this statute is applied to counties.
So we're not party to this individual.
The county is not a party. It's
Okay,
the Board of
we're not a
Elections.
party. We didn't do anything illegal. We're letting the process take care of itself.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there a way for an individual to question somebody's voting statute? Voting?
Well, there is under state law, but if this ends up being the law, even to wipe out these individual challenges, under the federal statute, you basically, once you register, unless somebody can prove that you died, you're going to stay registered for 8 years.
Oh, and if you don't vote in 8 years, you go off the rolls? Is that the rule?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Anybody else have a question,
Move, Richard.
comment? Okay, so the county itself is not a part of this.
No,
We're not-
but it's certainly clearly of interest to the county. It's the county board of elections. Yes,
But
sir.
we have to defend the Board of Elections. Is that what?
Well, we are. I hope we are.
That's
They've asked me to, and I've made an appearance. Yes, sir.
What's at stake if the Board of Elections loses?
Well, one of the interesting aspects of this, I mean, they've asked for attorney's fees. I mean, I mean,
Excuse me?
They've asked for attorney's fees in this.
Who's they?
The
Who?
plaintiffs, the Norcon chapter of the NAACP.
Oh,
Were there. And I know they have a law firm from San Francisco, New York, and D.C. handling this. So,
Wait a minute.
so that will become an issue because the Board of Elections, if that's war, and if that is the way this plays out, then this case will drag on a long time into the Fourth Circuit. So that will be a long time being resolved. This case is going to drag on a long time after the election.
Okay, Ms. Counsel?
Okay. I've tried to understand it as I have looked at national news and heard Cumberland County's name,
Yes, ma'am.
and it sounds horrible. But we have a in Terry Robinson. We have never had, as far as I can remember, any problems at all. She follows the letter of the law. To me, I had to decide between whether or not it was a nuisance lawsuit in our case or whether or not it was real. So,
It's real. But
We
mean,
don't want to deny anyone their rights, and I really, really, really don't believe that we in Cumberland County have done that.
And you're absolutely correct. We have not.
But we don't have the funds to provide our legal fees, plus the
Well,
plaintiffs.
but that's what the plaintiffs asked for, and you got to put this in the context. These were done, we know some were done, and it must have been around 1,000 in 2014. Nobody brought the issue up. This has been going on since February or March of this year. I first became aware of them in February. I started handling for the Board of Elections in February. And all the way up until Monday, the week before the election, before we know about this.
Well, I have the utmost faith in our Board of Elections and our director.
And I agree with you. I think they've been over backwards to do everything they could to dismiss as many of these things they could. And they did dismiss hundreds of them. So it was not, they took this very seriously. We had one hearing that was 7.5 hours one Saturday, September the 10th. That was 7.5 hours.
Okay.
Was that for a number of voters?
Yes,
Okay.
but they grouped these things. That had started out with about 1,500. He filed more between the time that he filed those and we had the hearing, he'd added more. So that particular day, it was the probable cause hearing for 3,906, I believe. So they didn't all get done that Saturday. That was just the first day of it. What I'm saying is this has been a very time-consuming process. And then election staff, with the elections going on and the stuff they had going on also, there was always usually about 4 people there because we had to go through the Board of Elections had to go through each one of these documents and view it, both the letter and the challenge. Just to go through that number, to write for me, I wrote the orders. To write an order with that many documents, the judge said that looked like a catalog. Well, it did look like a catalog because it's the only way I could keep up with it in terms of just the sheer volume of them.
And this is the same case. It's the same situation where the 100-year-old lady was denied.
Yes, and the story on that, I mean, that came out at the hearing up there too. That lady was never removed from the registration roll. She had moved to a rest home. She wasn't living at the address that was on her registration, and some individual challenged her, but someone knew the lady. I mean, she was never removed from the registration roll.
Okay.
And that was not here. That was in Beaufort County.
Yeah, I remember. I knew it wasn't here. Okay.
Okay, keep us informed.
I certainly will.
Thank you so much. Okay, that's
I
it. Is there
still
a motion
move
to
to
adjourn?
adjourn.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Unanimous?
Ah.
Meeting adjourned.